Hello. My name's Rose.
I am Groot.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my eccentric academy. My name's Cademan David, or as these little mechanical spiders call me, Mr. Cow. Now, going back to these earlier episodes of New Who, it really seems like they're trying to show us what the new Doctor Who show could be. And this episode, I really feel, is asking the question, what if Doctor Who was Star Wars? And would that even work? And I think the answer to that question is a resounding yes, it would. In fact, maybe it should more. In this episode, we follow Rose and the Doctor as the Doctor decides to take Rose to the end of her world.
End of the world.
But as she witnesses the destruction of her home planet, and also witnesses being the only human in a group of aliens, she begins to get quite anxious. The space station they're on watching the destruction of Earth gets infested by tiny little robot spider things, and people start dying, and it's up to the Doctor to figure out who did it. A fun premise indeed, but does the episode live up to that fun premise? In some ways yes, in other ways no. Let me explain. Turn your books to the Doctor Who episode, The End of the World, and we will discuss it. For me, I think the worst thing about this episode is that we never see any of these aliens ever again. There's so much opportunity for world building in the Who universe. The Whoniverse, as some call it. But the people in charge of Doctor Who never want to dive into that potential they have for really interesting world building. Now, to be fair, we do see this blue alien guy who has a name, but I don't care to learn his name because I don't care about that character. They want me to care, but you can't make me. Anyway, he is the same blue aliens as these blue aliens, at least supposedly, even though he kind of looks like a different sort of blue alien. It's not important. It's an attempt on world building, and I like it. And of course, we do get the face of Bo 2 times after this, which I'm always happy to see the face of Bo return. It's too bad they sort of ended his story, because I would love to see him again, or maybe another of Bo's kind. But with that being said, my brain just sees all these aliens and says, I want to see the tree people again, and I want to see the bird people again. And man, I even want to see the weird blue alien that grossly spits in Rose's face again. I don't want him to grossly spit in Rose's face again, I just want to see him again. In fact, I could have done without him spitting in Rose's face the first time. Why is that in there? Now, this episode has a lot of humor that may or may not land for you. Most of it works for me. I like the sort of aliens don't understand humanity type humor. I like that a lot, actually. So, this episode works for me pretty well. Now, this is the part of the video where I discuss the villain. In this, I'm gonna get a little more political than maybe I usually do. So if you aren't interested in, the sort of controversial political debate that's going on right now, Just look at the chapters and skip past where I'm talking about the villain. The villain of this story, this Cassandra character, was written by Russell T as sort of a parody of how models will get these sort of surgeries to alter their bodies in ways that actually make them look less human when they actually look perfectly fine before. And I like that. I think that's very cool, because that is a really sad thing that happens, where people need to sort of keep grasping on, oh, I need to lose weight, I need to, be thinner, I need to have less of a chin sticking out, is one thing Cassandra says in the episode. And I think this is a horrible sort of lie that people just keep believing. It sort of plays a part in the next part of Cassandra's character. You see, she says this.
When I was a little boy.
So, yeah, I guess she is actually a he. And it kind of feels weird watching this, seeing what's going to come in Doctor Who's later years. This sort of almost feels like it's presenting a more conservative take on the idea of Transformers. But, I'm not trying to imply that was Russell's intention when he wrote this character, but I do feel like it sort of fits, where the whole Transformer thing just fits right into that surgery of something you need to feel good about yourself or to belong. And I'm just gonna tell you here, from my experience in life, which is, limited experience, but experience nonetheless, there's so many things that you think, oh, I would be happy if I could do this, and I would be happy when I'm this, and I would be happy when I look like this, and whatever. But from my experience, when you achieve those things, it doesn't help to make you any more happy. And these sort of, surgeries that are supposed to make you happy, including the Transformer surgery, it just won't help. And you are a perfect person the way you are. Of course, you should improve yourself and make yourself a better person, but all these goals you might have, or things you might think of yourself, oh, I would be happier if I was this, it's all lies, and please don't end up being a trampoline. So we open with some pessimistic optimism from the Doctor. He says that humans are scared that global warming is going to kill them, but what if it doesn't? What if humanity lives on and eventually goes out into the universe and, evolves further?
You lot, you spend all your time thinking about dying, like you're gonna get killed by eggs or beef or global warming or asteroids. But you never take time to imagine the impossible, and maybe you survive.
Very sort of Star Trek concept. I like it a lot. I'm always down for more optimistic views of the future in science fiction. Now, this isn't entirely optimistic, but it does have that touch of optimism. And as soon as the Doctor says that, he shares that the Earth is going to be destroyed.
5 billion years in your future, and this is the day. Hold on. This is the day the sun expands. Welcome to the end of the world.
The Doctor shocks Rose when he says he's not here to save the planet, he's just here to watch it get destroyed.
How long's it got?
About half an hour, and the planet gets roasted.
Is that why we're here? I mean, is that what you do? Jump in at the last minute and save the Earth?
I'm not saving it. Time's up.
It's like, yeah, that's a little dark. But also, I like that sort of Time Lord coldness from the Doctor, where he's like, no, I'm not gonna get involved, I'm just gonna watch the world explode. But it is still very cold, just taking Rose to this place where everything she knows is about to be destroyed. After a while, we're introduced to all these cool aliens, including the face of Bo, who looks like a beholder from Dungeons and Dragons. And also, we get the supposed last human, and also we get tree people before Groot made it cool. We get some humor of the aliens don't understand what the human things are.
And here, another rarity. According to the archives, this was called an iPod. It stores classical music from humanity's greatest composers. Play on!
And then we get the best thing Doctor Who has ever given us, and that is this footage of Christopher Eccleston dancing. I love the Doctor here. He just seems so happy to be here, and he's just sort of enjoying watching everything go on. It's just very fun. Rose gets anxious and leaves. I feel like this portion is when Rose is at her most relatable, because I feel like I've had this moment at parties where I just look around and I'm like, oh, actually everyone here just feels so alien to me, and I don't know if I actually want to be here right now. But I think it's really good. I think this is really the heart of the episode, is Rose being like, oh, should I be here right now? Should I have actually gone with the Doctor? The Doctor goes after Rose to find her, and on his way out, the tree lady takes a picture of him, which she uses to learn that he is a Time Lord. In a conversation between Rose and a blue lady, we learn that Rose is starting to question the Doctor and whether or not she should have gone with him.
I just sort of hitched a lift with this man. Didn't even think about it. Don't even know who he is.
The blue lady then gets killed by these little tiny metal spiders that came in as a gift from one of the alien species. The Doctor goes to see Rose, and he's still having so much fun.
Aye. What do you think then?
Great, yeah, fine. Once you get past the slightly psychic paper.
As Rose gets more and more anxious about her situation, and the Doctor himself, she begins to push him on where he's from. But he doesn't want to answer.
Who are you then, Doctor? What are you called? What sort of alien are you?
I'm just the Doctor.
From what planet?
Well, it's not as if you know what it is.
Where are you from?
What does it matter?
Tell me who you are!
This is who I am, right here, right now. All right, all that counts is here and now, and this is me.
Now, the Doctor reassures Rose by making her phone so it can call her mom. This giving her an anchor back to the familiar in the safe, something that she needed in this moment. But then, the space station begins to shake.
That's not supposed to happen.
I love how Chris delivers this line. He seems curious, but just a little bit excited. And I love that Christopher Eccleston's Doctor, excitement for the danger and the adventure, which I think is an important part of the character, I think. We get a neat little reference to Tom Baker here.
Nothing can go wrong.
Unsinkable.
The place is impregnable.
Never cared much for the word impregnable. Sounds a bit too much like unsinkable.
If you like, the nautical metaphor is appropriate.
You're telling me. I was on board another ship once. They said that was unsinkable. They ended up clinging to an iceberg. It wasn't half cold.
What's wrong with unsinkable?
Nothing. As the iceberg said to the Titanic.
What?
Glip, 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 glip.
And in a conversation between Cassandra and Rose, this is where we learn that Cassandra, had all these surgeries to look this way, and it wasn't like some accident that made her this way or anything like that. And it's also where we learn.
When I was a little boy.
I already talked about that part. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. We've had enough controversy for this video. We also hear about how humanity has moved out into the stars and, mingled with other alien species, thus creating sort of hybrids, which is now what the majority of humanity is, which I guess also sort of explains the kind of people that we end up seeing on New Earth later. I don't know why, but this scene kind of reminds me of a video game cutscene.
I am the last pure human. The others mingled. Oh, they call themselves new humans and proto-humans and digi-humans, even humanish. But you know what I call them? Mongrels.
It's just something about the background music and the way Cassandra talks. It just, I don't know, it feels like a cutscene or like a one of those choose your own adventure type games. This scene just looks like it would be right in place in one of those. I don't know what it is about it. And this is when a few things that I've been talking about come back around. Because this is when the mystery gets solved. And the solving of the mystery is just very underwhelming. I feel like this episode had a chance to be Murder on the Orient Express. But, murder on the satellite that watches the Earth explode. And unfortunately, the show just didn't want to go that route. I think it could have been really interesting exploring all of these alien races and why different aliens would have done it, but I guess it would have packed too much into this episode, and maybe that gets a little more deep than they wanted to get with Doctor Who in this period. I don't know. But then, of course, it is revealed that Cassandra ended up being the one who was basically gonna use the satellite as a hostage situation, and the Doctor says, of course.
5 billion years and it still comes down to money.
And I like this, how, where this is sort of a more optimistic future, where, like, humanity lives on and moves on into the stars, it still isn't a perfect utopia. And there's still problems with money. And that's why I like Deep Space Nine, in particular, in the Star Trek franchise, is because I feel like it's the one Star Trek show that says, yeah, I know that Star Trek's technically supposed to be a utopian society, but we all know it's not actually, right? We all know this perfect utopia isn't so perfect under the surface, right? But anyway, with that being said, I do like that this is a hopeful future, but also it still has, bad things, because in this life, there's always going to be something evil going on below the surface. And the tree lady named Jade, she ends up sacrificing herself so the Doctor can get across this bridge that only makes sense in a Lego Star Wars level.
Oh, and guess where the switch is?
Tell me this room doesn't seem like a Lego Star Wars level. But I want to talk about this character because she's interesting. I feel like this is the first character in a category of characters that I'll call light companions, and that's characters that are almost a companion to the Doctor. And I think Jade would fit nicely in that. After all, she did spend about half of the episode going around the space station with the Doctor. And also, she's the first character to have the sort of trademark that so many of these characters have, where they're just like instantly infatuated with the Doctor.
Air from my lungs.
How intimate.
There's more where that came from.
So, you know, whether you like that or not, it is sort of an interesting thing that continually happens in the show, and it starts here. I just wanted to say that because I thought it was interesting, but then these characters will continue to do later on. She ends up dying in a somewhat heroic death for the Doctor, which is, you know, very sad for the Doctor, I think. It also fuels his anger in the end when he lets Cassandra just kind of, you know. And then we finally get some brilliant nuggets for what we can apply to our lives from this episode. And that's right here.
The end of the earth. It's gone. We were too busy saving ourselves. No one saw it go.
This line, watching it through for this video, it really connected with me. Because lately, I've been thinking a lot about this. So many times we, you know, just spend trying to get through the days when we don't take the time to realize that the days, what happened yesterday, that's gonna change and that's gonna be gone eventually. And it's like, this applies to a lot of things, whether it's a job you have or a friend you have or anything of that sort. We just tend to take those things for granted and focus on our anxieties about anything under the sun. But I think the moral of this story is that everything is eventually gonna go away. Everything, in the words of the Doctor, everything has its time to go.
Everything has its time and everything dies.
And that's fine, but also we need to remember that in the moment and appreciate the things we have while we have them.
You think it'll last forever? People and cars and concrete, but it won't. One day it's all gone.
I've been Mr. Cow. This has been a lovely class, and that sounds like the bell's ringing, so class may be dismissed. Thank you for coming. Subscribe, hit the like button for extra credit. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Farewell, live long and prosper. And in the conversation between Rose and Katrine?